Welcome back to the Tech 45 open source series, where we discuss modern technologies and how they affect our everyday lives. In this episode, we'll be talking about mobile security level C, which is the most stringent, the most secure, the most private, just using means that the everyday person can leverage. Technologies that are available today that you and I can leverage and make your mobile phone more private and secure. So what I would do to start off with, if I was starting from scratch, if I was going to start from scratch, this is what I would do. I would find a used Pixel 7, or it could be a new one, a new or used Pixel 7 on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Someone in your area who's getting rid of a Pixel 7, who doesn't want it anymore. That's what I did. And get that Pixel 7, take it out of the box, and don't do anything with it. Don't do anything with it. Don't breathe on it. Don't put your SIM card in it. Don't log into your Google account with it yet. What I want you to do first is upload a custom operating system. And there's three that are pretty well known that are all Android based. You have Graphene OS, Lineage OS, and Calyx OS. And all three of these operating systems are well regarded as open source, secure Android operating systems that replace the standard operating system that comes on the Google Pixel. And ironically, the Pixels are, from what I understand, the most easy to flash a custom ROM on. So the Pixel is what you want for the hardware, if you want an off-the-shelf secure phone. And so you can go ahead and upload a version of Calyx, Graphene, or Lineage. I'm likely going to try out Calyx OS because it's known as the most user-friendly. And if you're kind of a beginner with new open source operating systems, it's kind of got the moniker of being the most easy to use. So what you would do is upload that operating system, either go on the Calyx OS website and download it. Alternatively, you can order a Pixel 7 directly from the Calyx OS website, directly from the Calyx Institute. So you'll pay them a fee, and they'll ship the phone with the software already uploaded onto your phone. And they'll ship it either to your house or they can ship it to a discrete UPS pickup location if you'd like, if you want to stay really private. Another thing you can do too is when you're buying the Pixel 7 off Craigslist or off somebody, off of a classified ad in where you live, pay in cash. So there's no digital trace of the transaction. Alternatively, if you can't find one on Best Buy, if you can't find one on Craigslist, go to Best Buy and pay in cash there. So you keep the transaction private, and then now you're keeping the phone private. Once you have a custom operating system loaded up on there, utilize some of the anonymous Google Play interfaces like Aurora Store or F-Droid. So essentially, you can download some of the same apps that you're probably using today, namely probably like Uber or Outlook, but they'll use an anonymized version of Google Play so that not all your data is shared with Google. The next step, and we've talked about this a little bit before, is keep your location and your Bluetooth receivers off if you don't need them. So I like to use wired headsets anyway. I find that they're better quality and they're harder to lose than Bluetooth earbuds. But if you do need to use your location, like your GPS sensor to navigate somewhere, or if you do need to use Bluetooth to connect it to your car, your headset, go ahead and turn the Bluetooth signal on. Just know that every Bluetooth receiver gives off a signature, so it can let people know, where you are, and it's associated with your phone. Just like when you connect to a Wi-Fi signal, your phone has a MAC address that's unique to the phone. So the other thing you're going to do is turn on, and a lot of times this is by default in all Android operating systems, turn randomized MAC address on. And so what that'll do is every time you connect to a Wi-Fi network, it'll use a different MAC address. So hypothetically, someone couldn't trace your whereabouts based on what Wi-Fi networks you're connecting to. So you might be on the Wi-Fi at home, and then 20 minutes later you might be on the Wi-Fi in Starbucks in Miami, and then you might go to Chipotle in Orlando. And if you connect to each one of those Wi-Fis as you move about, if you don't have the randomized MAC address feature on, they'll be able to track your location based on which Wi-Fi signals your phone is receiving. And so same thing like we talked about before, I would highly recommend you enable a reputable VPN. like Proton, and then use a kill switch. And what a kill switch does is it will not let your phone connect to the internet without going through a VPN. So this just adds another layer of security. So if you forget to turn the VPN on, or if you forgot to update the software for your VPN, the phone actually won't let you connect to the internet, either Wi-Fi or 5G, unless the VPN is on. And another thing I want to kind of start talking about too, and we'll go more in depth in this in a later episode, but one of the things that I highly recommend is start exploring free open source software, FOSS, F-O-S-S, and as an alternative to some of the apps that you use. So if you really need to use a navigation app like most of us do to get around the planet, I suggest you use Magic Earth or OSM Maps. And these are all open source map applications that are mostly run off either volunteer or donation efforts. And basically they don't track any of your data. They don't track your whereabouts. And they basically just use an open source map system and then your GPS receiver on your phone to help you navigate. It's certainly not going to be as precise as some of the apps that probably come on your phone, namely Google and Apple Maps. But if you know the exact address where you're going, it tends to work. I've found that it works like 99% of the time. But yeah, Magic Earth is my favorite open source replacement for the standard navigation apps that you probably use today. K9 Mail is well regarded as a good open source mail client. Proton Password Protector is a good one to protect your passwords. Tor Browser or DuckDuckGo for web browsing. Those are both good options. AntennaPod for podcasts. I love this application. It's fantastic. And again, it's run off of people that either volunteer their time or their money to keep these projects going. And then another thing too is you can utilize browser windows nowadays. So if you really want to check your social media or other logins and you don't want to download the app, the mobile browser applications have gotten so good that you can actually just use your browser. That's what I do. I mean, if you don't need the app on your phone, delete it and then just use your browser so you can log in when you need to. One thing you'll notice too about some of these open source applications is that when you go to click on them and open them, they don't ask you for any login information. They don't ask you for a username, a password, an email. That's a good sign that they're probably not associating your account with anything related to your privacy or your preferences. So if you open Magic Earth or AntennaPod, there is no login. You just have to do everything manually. You have to set up all the podcasts that you want to follow, all the RSS feeds that you want to follow. It's super easy. You don't get locked into listening commercials like some of the other podcast applications out there. You can skip through all the commercials and just know that you won't be able to sync your preferences across devices. You have to do that manually. It won't do it automatically because there's no login, but that's okay. I love that I have a podcast application now that is just totally open source and secure and doesn't track my whereabouts and send me targeted ads. So that's basically what I would do if I was starting from scratch. I would buy a phone privately with cash. I would keep the phone private by putting a custom operating system on it. Probably Calyx OS is regarded as the most user-friendly one. I think Graphene and Lineage have their pros and cons. There's plenty of more detailed videos out there if you want to evaluate those two operating systems. But those are the three I would look at: is Calyx OS, Graphene, and Lineage. And I'll link those down below if you want to find out more information about those three operating systems. So hope you enjoyed the video. This is full tinfoil hat. What I would do if I was starting from scratch and wanted a super private, secure phone that I could get with just off-the-shelf components and not have to do any crazy engineering or manufacturing work. Hope you enjoyed it. If there's other topics that you'd like me to explore with you, feel free to comment below or send me a message. I'm a super curious person by nature, if you couldn't tell, and I'm always looking to explore technologies and how they can positively affect our lives. So thanks for tuning into the Tech 45 open source series.